I had received the revelation on the train journey with my mom to see my middle brother hospitalized in IITK. I began working on the revelation within a few days of receiving it as soon as I could, as I felt an urgency. Within the next week, it was ready with its formulation and results. The episode is from mid-2018 during the early months of my PhD days when I was still working under the supervision of Avdesh Prasad. While editing the part 1 of the model video earlier during the day, the title and entirety of the manuscript, a first-order piecewise linear differential equation explains alternate bearing in perennial plants, caught my attention, and after a while it made sense to me that the name highlighted the first act of communion between a virgin bride and her husband. So, the model revelation goes along with the promise and the TSPR ministry. Interestingly, this was also the first title I had come up with for the manuscript until a change was suggested. The model, though it is correct and reproduces the results of the lower form of the model published in 1997, was rejected at least 10 times by at least 7 scientific journals within the past 4.5 years for reasons such as it not explaining the reproduction in plants, not explaining other additional phenomenon such as masting that need not be incorporated in the paper, not being in current scope of the journals though the journal's name itself implied perfect affinity for the model to be a part of it. Afterwards, my supervisor suggested me to shelve it and work on the second MS, but because of my gradual health decay and the burden to regularly release revelatory newspapers, I wasn't able to complete the same, and then sitting to work on it gets me into a stress state. I don't possess the decision mail for this submission currently, but it is the one that spent about 6 months under review and gave a short and useless decisive review of a few lines. After this fact was highlighted, they gave a very long review on a second submission made separately to hide their ulterior intentions. I will share the decision mail received after about 6 months later. Look, they say that the MS is outside of scope, but the name mathematical biosciences itself testifies for how precise in scope the mathematical biology model of alternate bearing in plants is. They suggest submitting to a mathematical journal, such as Applied Mathematics and Computation, but when we do so, they too airily say that it's not appropriate for their journal. We go to their suggested mathematical journal Applied Mathematics and Computation, which according to them should be in scope, and get rejected by the reviewers for not so clear or concrete reasons there as well. While Mathematical Biosciences, perfect for submission by its name itself, said our paper was not in scope and sent us to a more specialized/specific journal, which is AMC. AMC now says that the paper is too specialized, and therefore not suitable, or in other words, out of scope. Are these people playing intentional games with the student? Could their inner motives be more clearer? They don't want the student to publish. But why? We go to the Mathematical Biosciences for a second time because of its very much apparent field of publishing, requesting them for reconsideration with some changes, some additional work done. But now they say that the paper doesn't have a high enough priority rating to warrant in-depth review. Also, they made sure to mention that they have an acceptance rate of 9%. And then they are talking about the needed increase in insight and understanding of the mechanisms underlying the biological processes. But by making such a statement, aren't they contradicting themselves, as they are saying that formulating a process as it is actually taking place in nature, that is, modeling the usage and budgeting of photosynthate as a continuous process in plants, one gains no new insight. This overlooks and neglects the fact that to formulate a version of model with continuous time, increased insight and understanding of the process are needed, as that's how one is able to formulate using a new or different mechanism. Additionally, the number 9 seems to have a special relevance in males from the scientific journals, broadly speaking. In the earlier part of the video, the guy from the plant journal asked me, "Provide us the figure 9 in TIFF format." This made me think of the revelation on the page 5 of TSPR. It has number 9 with its top carrying a love heart shape. At first I took the 9's top like a heart shape, but now I understand that the heart above the top round part of number 9 can also connote the open legs of a woman in the shape of a T. And the man asked for a picture of figure 9 in TIFF format. Are they intentionally throwing it on me to make an unscrupulous point? Is the rejection ever about something wrong, inconsistent, illogical, or unscientific found in the work already done? No. It's always about everything else but the work done. If this kind of behavior is not aimed at fooling and making the student go in rounds, then what is it? Nowhere do they say, "This is what is wrong with the model because of which we can't publish it." They just say anything and reject a body of work which is complete, proven by the fact that it is reproducing the same results as the previous model, only explaining 2 more things, or the new mechanism suggested is complete enough to not only explain the previous work but also give new results. So the work is complete. On what grounds then do they keep rejecting it? The comments they make are general and can be said for any paper to reject it. They are not aimed at pointing out some form of inconsistency within the model or highlighting how it doesn't work. Why are they causing unnecessary resistance in the publication for a fresh research PhD student? What do they want? Has it got to do something with the tiny spy drone situation because they want to take down those people at the beginning itself who would possibly raise a voice later against the sexual harassment prevalent in their scientific body of people? Or is it that they want to be the ones who want to decide if the work will be published by a student, and not let the legitimacy of the work speak for itself? Let's go back to a previous submission now. I didn't have the decision mail for this submission on my Yahoo Mail. This one is a mail forwarded by my supervisor on October 4th, the day before yesterday, as I asked her for it because of a very specific reason intentionally mentioned in a casual tone for the sole purpose of rejecting the model and perhaps suggest something unscrupulous, as will be clear. The mail dates back to March 30th, 2020. The date of rejection by JPP. The mail dates back to March 30th, 2020. The date of rejection by JPP. They say that the model doesn't help in better understanding of the reproductive behavior of plants. But why should it do so? Reproduction in plants is not the theme of this paper. The theme is the budgeting of resource understood using a continuous process in time. And if by doing so something more apart from reproducing the previous results is understood, that's a bonus. And that, the paper very well achieves. This scientific body that misdirects attention from the paper's key is corrupt and doesn't want science done, but a continuation of the immoral filth within the system. All new insights are overly explained and repeated as well. Why do they say there are no new insights? The entire formulation itself comes out of new insight, because of which the formulation of the model begins differently. Journals I submitted the continuous research budget model by far to: the Plant Journal, Journal of Plant Physiology, Journal of Theoretical Biology submitted thrice. Reject after a review of 6 months in the first submission. Mathematical Biosciences submitted twice. Biosystems, Applied Mathematics and Computation, Chaos, Solitons and Fractals. Journals we were prepared to submit to with the files, But it's not certain if we did, as I don't have the corresponding mails for the same, for I wasn't the corresponding author. Biophysical Journal. Chaos. Communications in Nonlinear Science and Numerical Simulation. Do any of them seem out of scope for my complete model of mathematical biology, which is giving the right results for it to be accepted in? It may not be overly complex, but it doesn't have to be superfluously complex in order for it to be accepted or considered for sharing with the scientific community or for publication. Only those in blue seem lying slightly towards the mathematical side, but those in green or blue-green comply with the model's content by their names themselves. Finally, now that I've given up on publishing the model in a scientific journal, and then I could see that the model was complete and needed release, I am now releasing it online at my own platform. I've already released the abstract, introduction and model derivation. Would soon release the solution and the results as well. I reject their rejection because it is biased and not at all done scientifically. With a truly scientific mind, you can't reject a novel and correct work with no discrepancies. They said they were serving science and not God, but they are not even serving their own field science, but the immoral beast system of Satan, for they follow his statutes. The scientific body is full of sexual immorality, which if you don't comply with, you face all kinds of problems in their system. What kind of scientific mind is it that doesn't want the truth but a continuation of what is wrong?
मुझे यीशु मिल गया, जीवन का आधार है, उसकी बाहों में सुकून है, मेरा वो पालनहार है। सारी दुनिया छोड़ दूं, उसके प्यार में खो जाऊं, उसके चरणों में झुक जाऊं, बस उसकी महिमा गाऊं। मुझे यीशु मिल गया, मेरा जीवन बन गया, उसके प्रेम में जीऊंगा, हर दिन उसको मानूंगा। मुझे यीशु मिल गया, मेरा जीवन बन गया, उसके प्रेम में जीऊंगा, हर दिन उसको मानूंगा। हर दर्द हर गम मिटा, उसने मुझे अपनाया, पापों का बोझ उतार दिया, नए जीवन का संदेश दिया, उसके प्रेम ने सब कुछ दिया, अनंत सुख का दरवाजा खुला, अब तो मैं हूँ उसका सदा, कभी न छोड़ूंगा उसे चला। मुझे यीशु मिल गया, मेरा जीवन बन गया, उसके प्रेम में जीऊंगा, हर दिन उसको